do that. Okay, three. So, all right, and we're back. Okay. All right, prepare yourself, guys. This is Talking Through the Movies. I am Chris Fagan. I am here with Amy Newman.
Hello.
Tell them everybody where you're from, Amy.
I am streaming in today from Los Angeles, California. I was going to say sunny LA, but we are cloudy today. So cloudy.
From cloudy California.
The world's ending anyways, and it is cloudy here in LA. The smog is gone and the clouds have taken hold. So
to do a cloudy version of a movie review for the Onward movie. We just saw the Onward movie on Disney Plus, and now we're gonna let's talk about what we liked about it, what we might not have liked about it compared to other movies, and the situation that we're all currently in, being quarantined, and that effect that it might have had on this film. So we're going to try to talk about all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's talk about the good stuff about this film. What did you think about Onward?
I mean, I loved it. You know, I'm a Pixar baby. My whole family, as I was saying, my whole family will go out of their way anytime a new Pixar movie's out, and they almost never disappoint. Cars like 3 notwithstanding. But I think the thing I really loved about this movie was the world was just so creative and so unique and just such a fun way to do a fantasy. But yeah, I thought doing fantasy, but then what if this existed and then we would start bringing in technology? I thought it made a lot of sense of like, yeah, people are lazy. They wouldn't put that energy into magic, even if it was real.
Right.
And it just created, I said it reminded me of like almost the Shrek world, but with more behind it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I think the thing that came to mind for me was like almost like Wall-E, but in reverse. Like instead of going all the way to the future and where science has already taken us, and then trying to find the hope and magic, it went back, and the magic transcends to I don't know why that for some reason, but Shrek makes a lot more sense with the fantasy and magic being modernized. So yeah, that's a way better comparison to me. I don't know what the heck I was thinking about. But what else stood out for you as for this movie? So you are a huge Pixar fan.
I am. Yes, I've seen them. I was like, did I? I always forget Good Dinosaur exists,
right?
But I did see it.
We can go on. Okay, don't get me started about that. It was. I think I liked the trailer more than the execution of Good Dinosaur. And I was afraid that I was going to have the same feeling about Onward, but I'm kind of. Okay, here's my question for you. How do you feel about what happened as far as studios being shut down, like movie theaters being shut down, Onward being one of the first major films to go straight to streaming? Luckily, it had a platform to land on.
I mean, I think I know it already because it was released in theaters for a bit, right? And then they realized that wasn't gonna. And I think they were doing all right.
I saw a budget of I saw that it made a little money, but I was like, wait a minute, how are they calculating that? So you're saying it did have a limited little release in some theaters?
As far as I remember, because I remember talking about going to see it, and then all this and like there were a couple of, I want to say like a week or two where it was like, oh, I should go see that, and then going out became kind of a non-starter. So
right, there's just some movies out there that no matter what, it just would be a complete loss if, like, for example, Wonder Woman were to go straight to a streaming service, or go straight to DVD and Blu-ray, and then a streaming platform, because of the expense of obviously making it. Those types of high budgeted films need a movie theater date. With the whole situation of the movie industry being under this threat of, like, AMC, there's a legit chance that AMC could fold because if something isn't done soon, if they still just don't open right away. They're the largest movie chain in the world. So when I saw that this film was going to Disney Plus as fast as it did, I thought it was going from a non-release to Disney Plus. So maybe it makes more sense about what you're saying. If you said that if there were some limited releases in some cities, then that probably makes more sense of why it came to Disney Plus so fast. I thought it was just from 0 to to Disney Plus. I didn't hear that it was released in some cities, but it now makes sense to me that what you're saying, because I saw that it did make, I saw the budget, and then I saw that it
Yeah,
made some money. I was like, wait a minute, how are they
it goes
calculating that? So it makes sense.
weekends. I know they released Frozen 2 on there ahead of what the
Right.
game plan would have been, but
Right.
then there's also the option of stuff like, I know Birds of Prey and some of those movies doing, and like I think the like Trolls 2 movie, like the kids movie, is doing stuff where it's like $20 to rent it when it would have been in the theater, and I'm curious to see if that's
Right.
going to start.
I'm very curious to see how that's going to turn out. Now that is the litmus test. That's the first one that's going to. I don't know. I just don't think that, maybe I feel like Onward would have been a better test to see, to go out there, as another movie reviewer said, that first penguin in the water, to test out that whole bring it to on demand early, but just raise the price a little bit to try to, I guess, compensate what they are definitely going to lose for not going to theaters. Onward would probably, to me, have been a better test of that. I think even though the first Trolls movie did very well, I was actually surprised of how good and how well I liked that movie. I don't know if there is enough of a history, like what you were saying earlier. Shrek could have probably been a good test to this. Just something with more of I guess, of a history or something like that, or
Feel like,
right.
I, as a almost 30-year-old woman, am not going to probably pay $20 to watch Trolls.
Right.
I'm sure it's cute. I'm sure they did a good
job.
job.
And I, as a 20-year-old, almost 30-year-old woman, am not going to pay that much to see Trolls either.
Like, if it pops up on Netflix or something, I might check it out. But
definitely,
yeah. But Onward, I mean, I'm isolating, at my parents' house right now, and that was the big selling point of
right.
getting Disney Plus. Like, again,
exactly.
it was a good. It's definitely a movie with a wider age range, so I'd be curious to know what the numbers look like, even for something more like Birds of Prey.
What stood out the most to you? What did you like or not like about Onward?
I mean, I thought it was great. If I'm gonna like rank it amongst Pixar movies, probably not my top 5, but that's just because the bar is so high. I just always personally believe like a B+ Pixar movie is still better than 90% of what's out there.
Of all the dribble that's on.
But yeah, I loved it. I thought they went for it. I mean, I feel like they just keep setting the bar higher and higher for how much they can just break your heart. And again, if we're talking about stuff with generational appeal, like multi-generational appeal, it's amazing how much they trust that kids can handle this stuff.
Right.
Like all the stuff with the dad and just being like, kids know what
dealing with the loss of the death in the family. Well, Pixar has been setting us up we were talking about Up from a while back. So Pixar has been gut punching us for some years now. As far as the ranking of I guess the emotional, if this is even a word, the emotionalness of the whole like death in the family or that gut punching moment, I didn't know if I was going to feel anything for it. You knew the premise. You know that these were two boys trying to use magic to bring their dad back for a day, and then only the top half part of it was to me, I felt like was a little silly. Like, how is this going to work? But then when you see the movie,
I thought it was fun. It was levity about a heavy thing, which I actually kind of love. Like, this is serious, but it's also, and I think in Lost, you do have those moments where it's just like, this is absurd. Like, it's so bad. You just kind of have to laugh, and I don't know. It worked for me. I thought it was really fun.
Not that it was necessarily bad, but when you see the movie, you realize that it took the focus. The real focus or the real message behind the whole story was right there in your face the whole time, where you're thinking these are two brothers that want to meet their dad, want to have a last chance with their dad, because one of the brothers never got to meet him at all. And then you realize that it comes to become a story about there's two brothers, but the father-son like kind of ish relationship where the big brother took the mantle as the I guess man of the house, and help raise his mom help bring up his little brother, and that connection that they have. Once I realized that these two guys, they have like nothing in common. They hardly get along. They obviously love each other. And when they went on this quest, the onion started peeling, and I'm like, oh, this is about these two. So it's less about the dad.
Yeah.
And I thought that was executed real well. So in the end of it, it got emotional.
Started peeling because you were crying.
Right. Exactly. Like a little boy with a skint knee. Yeah. Oh yeah. Did
you cry?
When was the last time I cried?
Sometimes I need a good cry. Sometimes, believe me, with the state of the world right now, I'll start crying over something like I was watching. Apparently I'm on a Chris Pratt with a dead parent kick because I rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy the other day.
Right.
And like that last 15 minutes, I was like, I've seen this movie like 20 times. I'm not gonna. And like, it started, and then it just turned into a full like cleansing like sob.
The quarantine cry. You did that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hashtag quarantine cry. So that's exactly. I know exactly what you. It just opens up these. I guess all these chakras and stuff started opening it up. Now that we're in the state that we're in. But yeah, big time. I got emotional at the very end. If there was anything that I did not, I remember seeing the movie and thinking, I feel like at first I felt like maybe it might not have been a hit or might not have done well in the theaters. Never bet against Pixar because they have a system and they try to put perfection in everything that they do. Even the dinosaur one. They still, when I watched the movie, I was.
We got the time. Let's all rewatch Good Dinosaur.
Yeah, it did win Best Animation, didn't it? I mean, there's that. But no, did it? I can't even remember. Did it win Best Animation? It might have. No, maybe. Anyway, but in the middle of watching Onward, I was thinking the whole time, as it progressed, I'm like, this would have crushed it in the theaters. I feel like this would have done very, very well, and this would have been something that we need. I'm glad we got it, even in the situation that we're all in right now. It was helpful. Me and my kids, we sat down and we loved it. We zoned out, and that whole world took you away. So, but I would have loved to experience it in the theater because it was very well made. So. It was hardly anything that I did not like about it. Was there anything that you saw that you would think that that character or this decision, was any bads in there that you can think of?
Nothing is a hard like, oh, I didn't like that. I feel like, and maybe this is partly me being an adult watching kids movies. I feel like sometimes, especially with kids movies, I've grown so accustomed to movies that are 2 hours plus, it's a little fast for me. Like there were emotional beats where it's like, oh, I wish we got to see just a little bit more of the brothers together or delve into this a little more. But I think that's also just nature of, the kids are going to have to go potty by the midway point. You gotta.
No, none of my kids had to go to the bathroom during this movie. They watched it.
We had a room full of adults, and we stopped at least twice.
You guys have an intermission in the middle of it?
Yeah.
I wonder what's a good intermission part. I think the bridge scene, right before the bridge scene, is a good stopping point, and because it's a bridge, it carries over to the next half of the movie, the third quarter or the third act of the film. So it's literally right there. So it's a bridge. I would say if there's a bathroom break moment, pause it right there. Go handle whatever you need to.
I think that's $1 million idea. Like there is
a website like that. I've heard that somebody's already created that. Most I remember in the middle of it, because I'm going back to what just recently happened with the retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and how Gaston's character, his sidekick, I forgot. What was his name?
LeFou, I think.
LeFou? Yeah, LeFou. And they dubbed,
I could know math with the things that are in my brain like that. Go on.
That yes, LeFou was gay, and things like
Double
that. And then in the middle of the movie, and I remember hearing about it in production, and I totally forgot about it.
Mhm.
And when the Spectre character, and I found out who plays her, and I was really happy when I found her. Let me see if I can find her again.
Lena Waithe, her name is?
Yes, Lena, is it Way or We?
Waithe?
Wait, and I loved her in Ready Player One, and if I'm not mistaken, I think she helped wrote Queen and Slim that I have upside down, and she's a great writer, and she's in Masters of None. And when I saw that she was the one casting that as that character, I instantly, because I remember listening to her like, she sounds familiar. I bet I know this actor. And then when I found out after the fact, I'm like, of course it's her. She's awesome. I loved her in Ready Player One. So when that line came up, and it was, oh yeah, stepkids are good. When she said my girlfriend's kids are, and I remember going, my kids were just sitting there like this, just watching the movie. But I was like, oh yeah, I just had an aha moment. It came, it went, and it was fine. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that they said they were going for it. Like, it's like Pixar was like, get out of our way. This is happening.
Pixar said gay rights, baby.
Exactly. It was cool that they did it and got that out the way for Beauty and the Beast, because now when they did it again, and I remember, like I said, I remember hearing an announcement of it beforehand, but I didn't hear much about it. But now that they just kind of just threw it in there, no real explanation about it. Nothing. Hey, we don't have to explain ourselves. Kind of a situation. This is what it is because people exist, and we're like you said, we're representing what is actually going on in the world. And to me, it kind of takes fire away from, or fuel away from those trolls. Like, they're gonna say what they're gonna say no matter what. But for it to be just in there, and it's like that, it just is what it is. The roof didn't cave in, nothing bad. Kids were like, okay, and we're all still going on. And that's exactly what people have been trying to say all along. The world is not going to literally go because another group or whatever gets represented. What did you think about that?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a small step, but I think it's an important step in the way they just very much normalized it. And I will say, on a lot of fronts, because as much as I love Pixar, I do think representation just generally can be a little bit of a thing they can fall short on. So I thought that was great. I just seeing a more diverse voice cast was really nice, and I really appreciate it because I feel like women characters can sometimes they're getting better about. I think this is one of only a couple Pixar movies I can think of that passes the Bechdel test with two named female characters talking about something that's not a male character. So I think throwing in the mom and the Manticore as like the solid B plot of the movie was a really nice way to actually give the female character something to do, even in a white male centric film, which is, again, we have a long way to go, but.
Right. You know what? Speaking of that, just now I just realized that when I finished watching that film, you know what I would love, or what I would definitely be ready for if they did an Onward sequel, a spinoff of what Octavia Spencer's character and Julia Louis-Dreyfus' mom and was it the Manticore? That making that a whole movie. Or them maybe going on a whole different adventure together, because the dynamic between them, if this would have been a movie about a mom trying to go rescue her sons, or maybe if the movie was 50-50 of what was going on with the boys and then 50% of what was going on with the mom and her new bestie and whatnot, that would have been totally fine with me, because I felt like some of the funniest things that was happening was with the Manticore.
Yeah, that is one thing. The timeline on like when the magic ended, like, it was such an interesting backstory. It's like, I want dates, I want more information. Like the idea that like some people are still choosing to delve into magic and some people aren't, and it's like, I want to know more. I want to know
that. If there was any criticism, I think that would be it. It didn't really explain which characters were aged at a point where they remember that it was, because the Manticore, she obviously had to have been that old. but it didn't explain that fairies live this long or elves live that long. He didn't really explain who really remembered and gave up and just fell into science, and who was just born and do not remember that world.
The timeline and some of the specifics were a little hazy, but
yeah, that's something I would have. Go ahead.
That speaks so highly of the world you created that I'm not just going, okay, whatever, suspend my disbelief. I'm like, wait, no, tell me more. That's really cool.
Exactly, and I think the prime example of that was maybe I'm thinking the biker fairies. I'm thinking that they had to have been like a couple of like 20, 30 years old, because they totally were told that you used to be like this, and they just like, no, we got bikes, like, yeah. I was born like not being able to fly. Obviously, that was a separation of generations kind of a situation. So I'm assuming fairies in this universe probably don't live that long. So it's I wonder. I'm thinking the unicorns are very old. I think that those unicorns that we saw, like stray dogs, I think that was the same unicorn in the beginning of the movie that was flying around. And that unicorn has seen some things, man.
Man, I thought we were going to see more of those unicorns, because I've definitely seen them in like the ads and stuff. So I was like, that's it? That's all the unicorns.
That's all they gave us. I thought the same. I thought the unicorns were going to have more of an impact. They were just like stray dogs, stray cats, really like raccoons, almost like. Again,
there was so much I wanted to see more of. And if I had a complaint, it would just be like, I would take a mini series of this, like
this like shorts. You think?
Yeah. Which Pixar does do sometimes. So fingers crossed.
Which, as far as a Disney movie, I like you said, I don't know where to rank it. It does rank high. Maybe it's not in my top 5. Maybe it's not. It's definitely not in my top 5. Maybe it's not anywhere near my top 10. But just like you said, it's not that. That's because this is a bad movie or not. No, it's not. It was a great movie. It's just because Disney, and especially Disney/Pixar, have been crushing it so much and have so much content. It's hard to break into that top 10. It's probably hard to break into that top 20 with Disney movies. So if it's in my top 50, it's probably still, like you said, better than most films that are going out there. Families.
I'm going to say it. This might be controversial.
Better than Good
Dinosaur.
Better than the Good Dinosaur. How dare you? How dare you? I'm sorry. I am sorry that you're right. I grade a movie on how often I've rewatched it, or I'm willing to rewatch, or if I just happen to come across it. Or see it playing in the doctor's office or whatever. If I'm gonna, look at a couple scenes, if I see it playing in a doctor's office and I go right back onto my phone, it probably wasn't a good movie. It's just,
for me, Good Dinosaur, it's never a good sign when my response to a movie is, oh yeah, that one. Yeah. Like I always forget it exists.
But that's guys. That's our review of Onward and the Good Dinosaur, obviously. For
our unnecessary scratching of the Good Dinosaur, more like the Bad Dinosaur. Am I right?
Right, exactly. Speaking of Onward, did you hear about this alleged Disney Pixar movie called The Good Dinosaur?
It was DreamWorks. I'm starting the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, as a DreamWorks movie, Disney's Good Dinosaur was great. There's your hashtag Good Dinosaur, hashtag DreamWorks. But let us know what you guys thought of Onward and The Good Dinosaur if you want to tell us about it. Amy, where can people find you out there online?
I am on Instagram at amy.n.newman, at Twitter at amy_n_Newman. On Facebook, check out All Caps Comedy. That's my stuff.
That's your stuff. I was introduced to Amy on the new YouTube channel that's called Adventures in La La Land. She played Joe Biden for if Joe Biden and all the other political crazies out there were a part of the what is it? That was mixed with the Real Housewives.
Like if the presidential debate was a reality show and we were all sort of Real Housewives. Yeah, check them out. Adventures in La La Land. Super funny girl.
Yeah,
crazy funny.
I'll put a link down below to that and all of Amy's work. She's hilarious. I had a lot of fun with this. I hope one day maybe we can do this again. I had a lot of fun. There's a lot that we could talk about. You could teach me how to Dougie, and we can and we can just talk about movies some other time. So yeah, I had a good time. So until next time, guys. Hey, peace.